What is going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. Today we have the complete stratagem guide in the brand new Pioneer KvK King of all Britain. In this video we are going to be breaking down each and every one of the stratagem skills that you need to know to prepare for battle. If you are interested in specific strategies, please pay attention to the timestamps that are available below. Now let's get into the video. Okay guys, welcome back to the complete stratagem guide. Alright, so let's take a look at the beginning of this guide. So as you can see here, we have split this into different categories. So there is going to be something available no matter what your playstyle is in this KvK. So before we break down these specific strategies, we're going to take a look at the complete stratagem list. There are a lot of stratagems here, so let's take a look at the stratagems. All right, now as you can see here, there are quite a lot of these stratagem skills. In fact, we have up to 32 different skills right here in the brand new King of all Britain Pioneer KvK. So to make things easier for you, I have put them all here on the list for you to easily view. We're going to go through the skills one by one. But before we get into that, you may have noticed that some of these skills, they have different color variations. Now, basically what this means is they are split into different tiers. It is basically a tier system. So we have red at the top, which is going to be the most expensive stratagem that you can buy in the game right now. These will cost you 2,000 stratagem points. Next, we have the purple, which is kind of like the epic tier. That is going to cost you half of that. So it's going to be 1,000 stratagem points. There are more of these available as they are not as rare as the red ones. Now, after that, we do have a cheaper level variation. These guys are going to be the green level stratagems. Okay, these will cost you 600 stratagem points. Let's start going through these skills one by one. So we're going to start with blood tempered at the top here. So blood tempered, what is this going to do? This is going to be your field troops gain a bonus to attack based on the total power of your severely wounded units. Every 30 minutes, this stratagem calculates the total power of all your units that were severely wounded within the past 3 hours. Severe wounds suffered while this stratagem was not equipped will not be included. For every 3 million power, your field troops gain a 2% bonus to attack, up to 20% attack bonus. Does not take effect when attacking garrisons. Wounded unit power is only calculated in intervals of 3 million, and power between these intervals will not be counted. Okay, so that is your first skill, which is blood tempered. Now, this looks like a very nice skill for someone who is quite heavily fighting on the open field. So we're going to take a look at the next skill here, which is going to be called decimation. This is your second red level skill here. Whenever one of your troops battles an enemy field troop on the map for at least 3 seconds, if the battle's final kill point ratio is at least 200% in your favor, the enemy troop will suffer 2% extra severe wounds at the end of the battle. If the final kill point ratio is at least 300% in your favor, the extra severe wounds will be increased to 4%. Wow, that is actually crazy. In a battle where you're going to be cheeseburgering a lot, coming out of the cities, you're going to get very high kill points in your favor. This skill could be absolutely insane. All right, just imagine those guys that are popping in and out of the cities. They're getting quick little kills. They return to the city. That enemy is going to suffer extra attrition. So in a battle of attrition, this skill could be very important. Now, the next skill here is going to be pack hunters. This is the third red level skill here. Now, whenever one of your troops battles an enemy troop whose unit count is at least 200% of its own, your troop deals extra damage to it. Damage bonus equals number of friendly troops surrounding the enemy times 2%. This is capped at 5 surrounding troops and 10% bonus damage. Now, this wording was a little bit confusing to me, so I did reach out to the VIP services who were able to clarify and give some additional information on this skill. And they have said, this requires that the unit count of the enemy's troops be more than 200% of that of your own troop. Therefore, if 5 troops surround an enemy troop and the number of one of the troops differs from the number of the enemy troop by more than 200%, then this troop can activate the 10% damage bonus. So that's pretty cool. So basically, if you have 5 troops and just one of those troops has a lower unit capacity, like they have already been damaged, all right, and then you start to attack that particular troop, you're gonna get the 10% bonus damage. This is very nice. This is a nice skill that I'm probably going to be using in part of our KvK. All right, now the next skill, rousing drums. This is a damage reduction skill. Whenever one of your troops receives a buff from another troop, your troop takes 15% less damage for the next 5 seconds. Each of your troops can trigger this effect once every 15 seconds. So this is a fairly straightforward skill. It seems like a nice buff. I mean, most troops are going to benefit from this at some point. Now, the next skill here, counter-offensive. This is another damage buff skill. All right, let's have a read. So whenever you initiate a rally, or if one of your commanders is serving as a garrison commander, the rallied army or garrison will deal 20% more counterattack damage. So this is exclusive to rally or garrison troops only. This will not benefit the field troops. However, 20% additional counterattack damage is quite significant. Just to give you guys a comparison, all right, we have the Vengeance legendary accessory that is going to normally give you 8% additional counterattack damage. This particular stratagem skill here, counter offensive, will give you 20%. This is quite a significant skill. I would say most rally or garrison leaders will want to be using this counter offensive. Now, we have the last red tier skill here, stratagem skill here, surprise strike. This is an additional damage bonus. Whenever one of your troops uses a single target active skill targeting an enemy troop, the target takes extra direct damage. Damage factor equals number of friendly troops surrounding the target times 100, up to 700 damage factor. Each of your troops can trigger this effect one time every 20 seconds. Exiting combat will not reset the cooldown time. Now, this is another interesting skill. I would say this skill sounds like it's going to be fantastic for people who are swarming with multiple marches, and particularly the single target commanders. This is going to be quite a nice little bonus damage that you can deal to the garrison. All right, now we're gonna move into the epic range of these stratagems, the purple stratagems. Just a reminder, these are gonna cost you 1,000 stratagem points. So to start things off, let's go into Battlefield Plunder. Whenever one of your field troops defeats another governor's troop, excluding garrisons, it heals up to 5 nearby friendly or allied field troops. Healing factor is 400. Okay, now one little interesting thing I'm going to add here on this skill, because I did also reach out to VIP services regarding this skill. Okay, first of all, we have a brand new we have a brand new formation. Well, it's been in the game for a couple of months now. The circle formation. The new archer commanders are utilizing this circle synergy that is increasing the healing. If you have a healing commander, aka the new archer Shajar, with the circle formation, this is going to increase the healing factor. All right. That also includes any inscriptions that you may have that are also increasing the healing factor. So that is confirmed by VIP. They have said with the 5% that you get just as a starter for the circle formation, this healing factor will be increased by 5% and so on. So that is interesting. However, one more thing I'm going to add, true damage, which is initiated by a heal that is done by her skill. That will not activate. You will not get additional true damage from this particular Battlefield Plunder healing factor. So I want you guys to be aware, it is going to help with healing, but not count towards the true damage. All right, next skill, we have Do or Die. This is a damage buff. Your field troops deal 10% more damage when fighting rallied armies or other field troops, but 2% of the severe wounds they suffer will be converted into deaths. This is quite an interesting skill. 10% more damage is significant. I'm not really sure who is going to be willing to take that extra amount of dead troops. I'm not really sure, to be honest. Like, I know I personally will not be doing that. Maybe if you're like a Kraken and you've got 1 billion in power and you just want to be the strongest guy on the field, this could be a good skill. But taking 2% of the severe wounds into dead doesn't sound like a great skill to me. Okay, next skill, Ant Crusher. This is a damage buff. Whenever one of your field troops battles an enemy field troop whose unit count is less than 15% of its own, your troop deals 15% more damage to it. Again, this is a nice and straightforward skill. Sounds like it could benefit quite a lot of people who are fighting on the field. Next skill, we have Far From Home. This is a damage buff. Your field troops gain 12% attack while outside of your coalition's territory. So 12% attack is significant. Again, that is going to stack with your crystal tech, which, as we know, there is a lot of attack bonus in the crystal tech already. If you guys are on the offensive and you are playing outside of your coalition's territory, this could be a nice skill to use. Okay, next skill, we have Breakneck. Nice and simple skill. Your troops gain 10% march speed. That's a beautiful skill. Who doesn't want to get extra march speed? If you're fighting on the open field, you need extra march speed. This is a nice option. All right, next stratagem skill, we have Home Field Advantage. Your troops take 7% less counterattack damage while within your coalition's territory. So this is basically the opposite of the Far From Home skill that we just mentioned. So if you're playing on the defensive, this could be a nice skill to use as an open field fighter. Your troops take 7% less counterattack damage. I guess this could also benefit a garrison. If you are a garrison, it could help with that as well, as you are going to be on your coalition's territory. All right, next skill, we have Berserker Blood. Your troops deal 5% more damage, but they also take 3% more damage. All right, that's an interesting skill. I know this is something similar to some of the existing talents that we already have. I think in certain situations this could work, but you'd really have to think about it. I think if you're prone to getting swarmed, maybe if you're a rally and you're prone to getting swarmed, this could be dangerous, as taking 3% more damage from all sources could really backfire. So you would want to be cautious when using this skill. All right, next skill, we have Beatdown. So this is our first skill here. This is our first epic skill that is interesting. It actually increases it buffs one of the red, more higher tier stratagems that we mentioned earlier. So increases the damage bonus from the Pack Hunter's stratagem to number of friendly troops surrounding the enemy times 3%, up to 5 surrounding troops. Also increases the max damage bonus to 15%. So just a reminder, this is the Pack Hunter's skill. Okay, this is the normal buff that you're getting. Now with the beatdown, this is increasing that output. So if you are going to use Pack Hunters, this could be a nice little addition to put on top of that. Now, next skill, we have Know When to Fold. Increases the march speed of your routed troops by 200%. Again, this could be nice for certain accounts, depending on what kind of account you are. Being able to retreat faster after a rally, after a garrison has been defeated. This is a nice bonus to have, but not suitable for all account types. All right, next skill, Invictus. Damage. This is a damage buff skill. Whenever one of your troops defeats a troop from a different camp, your troop's single target active skills will deal 10% more damage for the next 20 seconds. You will not lose this effect after exiting combat. Does not apply to your rally or garrison troops. So this is specific to open field fighting only. Okay, so this could be a nice little buff depending on how many single target skills you have in your lineup. It would really depend on your specific lineup that you would have to go through. All right. Now, the next skill we have, Run Them Down. So if you guys remember, we mentioned the decimation stratagem earlier. We'll just take a quick look at that. So this is the decimation. This is the original skill. When you get extra 300% in your favor of the report, the enemy will take 4% increased severely wounds. Now with this particular upgrade, Run Them Down, the new skill is going to become, if the battle's final kill point ratio is at least 200% in your favor, the enemy troop will suffer 3% extra severe wounds at the end of the battle. And if the final kill point ratio is at least 300% in your favor, the extra severe wounds will be increased to 6%. So again, we mentioned earlier, this could be a very nice skill to use in a war of attrition, particularly for those troop types that are going to be entering and exiting their cities very quickly to get a nice quick win. This is a good skill to use to upgrade the already existing decimation stratagem. All right, next skill we have Right Back At You. This is another damage buff. Increases the counterattack damage bonus from the counter offensive stratagem to 30%. So as mentioned earlier, the counter offensive skill, okay, this is only benefiting a garrison or a rally commander. The original skill is 20%. Now it's just gone up to 30%. That is absolutely insane. 30% bonus counterattack damage. All right, now the next skill, we have Proven Valor. This is a additional damage for the Surprise Strike stratagem. So, okay, so the Surprise Strike stratagem, let's take a quick look. So as mentioned, this is the one, okay, that is boosting whenever one of your troops uses a single target active skill. Now the cooldown is originally 20 seconds. With this particular buff, Proven Valor, that cooldown has been reduced to 10 seconds. So that is a nice little buff. If you are a swarming account, you're going to be swarming a lot of stuff. This is a good buff to use. Now, next skill, we have Rhythm of War. Increases the duration of the damage reduction effect from the Rousing Drum stratagem to 8 seconds. So normally, Okay, every 15 seconds. This skill normally has a 15-second trigger. Now it's been reduced to 8 seconds. So that's a good skill if you are using the Rousing Drums Stratagem. Now we have the last and final epic level Stratagem here. Till I Fall. The attack bonus from the Blood Tempered Stratagem becomes, for every 3 million power, your field troops gain a 3% bonus to attack, up to 30%. So as a reminder, the Blood Tempered Stratagem, all right, this is for those very heavy open field fighters, guys who are running around with 5 or more marches. You're going to be fighting non-stop. Your hospital is going to fill fast, all right? But in exchange, you are going to get your attack up to 20% with the original skill. Now with the upgrade, this is going to go up to 30% depending on how many troops are filling in your hospital. I think this is a must-have skill, particularly in the huge battles like Kingsland. This is a must-have skill for open field fighters. All right, now let's get into the next range of the stratagems. We have the green level stratagems, starting with Triage. And as a reminder, these are going to cost you 600 stratagem points. Now, this is a wound reduction. 8% of your field troops' severely wounded units will instead only be slightly wounded. Okay, so that's a nice little buff if you are like, maybe you're low on resources, you just want to save on resources or speed ups. This could be a nice little buff. Or even if someone is using that other skill that we mentioned earlier, run them down. Okay, this is like something to reduce that amount of severely wounds. So that's a good skill potentially. Now the next one, we have Resourceful. Gathering resources will also earn you crystals. You can obtain up to 1 million crystals this way per season. So this sounds quite similar to some of the other KvK formats. I know there is a similar skill in the Nile KvK that does something like this. I think this is good if this skill is available in the early point of your KvK. Getting that extra 1 million crystals could be a nice addition to boost your crystal tech. But you are not going to want to use this once you surpass that 1 million crystal point. Then you can remove this skill. All right. Now the next skill. One Heart, One Mind. When garrisoning or rally attacking a stronghold, every one of your troops taking part will provide a 1% damage bonus to the captain. This effect can stack up to 10 times. It does not affect field troops. Again, this is a very similar skill to the Nile KvK. I think there is an exact skill like this in Nile KvK. And I remember when we played Nile, this skill here was absolutely vital. So it's very important for most accounts. If you are like an open fielder account, maybe you don't have 5 marches or you have less than that, this skill is very important to boost your rally or garrison. All right, now the next skill we have Kind-Hearted. This is going to increase your hospital capacity by 100%. That is quite significant. So I believe right now with the crystal technology, you can already increase your hospital capacity by 100%. And that usually takes it up to around about, I don't know the exact number, it's around about 600k troops. Now this is going to double again. So you could have up to 1.2 million troops in your hospital capacity. This is quite an interesting skill. I would say it could be very useful if you're prone to taking rallies and you know that your city is gonna take that rally. This could be a good skill to have. Or alternatively, it could also be useful for players with 7 marchers that are running around and they're concerned about getting their hospital filled too quickly. This could be a nice skill for them as well. All right, now let's go to Logistics Whiz. Now this skill is going to, you can dispatch 2 troops to each rally. Wow, some of these stratagems are very similar to the Nile KvK. I know this was another option in the Nile KvK as well. So again, this could be a nice option depending on what type of account you are. And maybe you're limited to fighting on the open field. This could be a useful skill if you wanted to put more than 1 troop in the rally. All right, now next skill we have Makeshift Splints. Reduces the resource cost of healing units by 10%. You can save up to 700 million resources this way per season. This is a fairly straightforward skill. You're saving some resources. All right, this could be maybe a nice addition for certain accounts out there who are lacking on the resources. I personally won't be using this skill. I think there's much better options available. All right, now next skill we have Smarter Not Harder. This skill is increases the resources capacity by 100% when transporting resources. Again, this is a very nice skill. It's like just an extra little buff that you can do if you have a lot of farm accounts and you want to transfer those resources before a big battle. This is a good skill to have. So here is something to keep in mind, guys. If you do have your farm accounts and you usually transfer those resources before the KvK starts, maybe consider waiting until these farm accounts can obtain this particular skill here. This could save you some time. Not a major buff, but it's basically a time-saving buff. All right. Now, next skill, we have Fruitful here. Increases your gathering speed by 10% for all resources other than gems. So this is fairly straightforward again. Not really super important, but it's something there that's going to help your accounts gather faster. All right, now next skill, we have Hymn of Heroes. Every 500,000 dead tier 5 units in your Hall of Heroes grants you a 1% bonus to damage dealt. Now this can go up to 5% in total. So if you wanted to get the 5% bonus, you would need to get 2.5 million dead tier 5 units. Now, one thing I'm going to say, this particular skill could be very powerful for certain accounts. If you know for a fact that you are going to have close to or if not more than 2.5 million dead troops, T5 only, by the time Kingsland opens, okay? If you know for a fact that you're going to reach that limit, this skill could be very powerful. Whether you are an open fielder or a garrison or a rally or even a swarmer, this 5% damage does stack, and that becomes quite powerful. This is not going to be easy to get though. A lot of accounts will not be able to receive this buff. Now we have Martial Talent as our final skill here. Now what this is going to do, you are able to select one artifact in the game. What this will do is when you equip the artifact onto a secondary commander, any skills they have that apply to a single unit type will instead apply to a different unit type. So to give you guys an example, okay, let's say you choose a infantry specific artifact. You can then equip that artifact onto an archer commander. This is just an example. You can put it on Boudica. All right, now Boudica is going to become an infantry commander. All of her existing skills that are buffing archers will now benefit infantry. Okay, so this will open up a lot of different strategies in the game. This is basically an endless strategy option, having this artifact. And the more commanders that you have in your arsenal, this skill will be more powerful. Whether you are an open fielder and you are lacking in one particular troop type, you just need to get that little bit of a buff, this could be a nice addition. Or even rallies or garrisons opening up brand new strategies that are not normally available to us. This is a very good skill. I would say must have for most of the accounts that are going to be playing this game. Now that wraps up all of the stratagems that we have here in the game. There were quite a lot to get through. So if you are still watching this video, now, as promised, we're going to break them down. We're going to break down these skills into different strategies, all right? To start things off, we have the Garrison Lead skills. This is the list that I have put together to make things easier for you guys entering into the KvK, all right? Now, we have priority. This is basically the most ideal option that you guys will have. Once you can unlock all of these skills, in my opinion, these should be your priority. Okay, right here. As a reminder, we're going to quickly have a look. Counter offensive. Okay, this is the extra counter attack damage. That's amazing for a garrison. We have right back at you. That is increasing the counter attack damage again to 30%. We have one heart, one mind. This is the one that, depending on how many troops you have that have one heart, one mind equipped, this can increase the damage up to 10% for a garrison. This is insane. And then, as mentioned, we have martial talent. This is the artifact skill. Very useful skill for most. This is going to benefit 99% of garrison players out there. All right, now next skill, we have the home field advantage. This is, as mentioned earlier, this is the one that reduces counterattack damage taken while within your coalition's territory. So that is going to always benefit you as a garrison, as your flag is always going to be on territory. And then the last one, we have Hymn of Heroes. Every 500,000 dead, the bonus can stack up to 5%. So if you are a big player and you know that you can get those dead troops stacking, that is a must-have skill. Alternatively, if you are not able to get that many dead, there is an extra option here, which is the Berserker Blood. And as mentioned, this is the one that increases the damage by 5%, but you will take extra 3%. So I wouldn't recommend this. If you can get Hymn of Heroes, this is a better option. But if you are unable to get that many dead troops, this is a good alternative. All right. Now, let's move on to the next skill, the next strategy that I have broken down. We're going to talk about rally leads. Okay. This is specific to rally leads. And as you may have noticed, some of these skills are comparable to the Garrison Lead, because the counter-offensive is not just going to buff the garrisons, it also works for rallies. So this is great, the extra 20%. And then right back at you is the same. That takes it up to 30% extra counter-attack damage for rally commanders out there. Now, one heart, one mind. This is the stacking buff that we said earlier. This is the one that stacks up to 10% additional damage, depending on how many troops have this equipped. All right, now we have the artifact. So this is the one that allows you to change to another troop type. So it's very similar. It's very similar to the garrison. But now we have a couple of minor differences with the rally lead and the garrison. So we have I've added this one, far from home. So your field troops gain 12% attack while outside of your coalition's territory. Now, this is one that I'm not 100% sure on, but if it does work the way that I think it works, okay, I know it says field troop, but I believe that means any troop on the map. I could be wrong though, so I'm going to have to test this when I do enter the KvK. But if this does work for a rally troop, extra 12% attack is a nice buff. Now, we have Berserker Blood, as mentioned. This is the extra 5% damage, where you will take extra 3% as well. And we have Hymn of Heroes. This is the one that is when you get up to 2.5 million. Yeah, so if you guys can get this one, definitely go for this option as well. All right, now back to the list. The next strategy that we're going to break down is high-tech swarmers. So this is for players that have maybe 5 or 6 or even 7 marches, and you just want to swarm a flag or any other kind of structure. Okay, you're going to want to, this is your priority. You're going to want to use, so we have here pack hunters. So this is the one that I mentioned at the start. It's a little bit of a confusing skill. Okay, but if you have even one troop, in your 5 marches or 7 marches that you have, and one of those troops has less than 200% of the enemy, okay, so the enemy is going to have 200%. Let's say they have a full unit count, which is 200% more than you. This skill will be activated. And depending on how many surrounding troops you have, aka a swarmer, you can get up to 10% bonus damage. This is a very nice skill, a must-have for swarmers in the game. Now, surprise strike. This is similar as well for benefiting the single target troops out there. And if you are a professional swarmer, a lot of the commanders you are going to be using will already have a single target anyway. That is what a lot of the single target commanders are very good at, swarming a garrison. And this skill is going to enhance that even more. All right, now beatdown, that's the one that we just mentioned. So that's increasing the pack hunters stratagem. Okay, now we have proven valor. That's the other one that's improving the surprise strike, reducing the cooldown. And then of course, this is the invaluable skill to select if you have up to 2.5 million dead. Now, one thing I'm going to quickly say, if you are a swarmer, if you are a high-end swarmer, 2.5 million dead is quite easy to achieve, in my opinion. So this is definitely a skill you want to select. And then of course, far from home, as we said with the rally, I'm not 100% sure if this is going to work for a rally, but as a swarmer on the field, this is definitely going to work. So getting that extra 12% attack is going to be quite nice for all of your marchers who are attacking and swarming the garrison together. And then of course we have, this is just like a kind of last option, an alternative option. This is going to increase your hospital capacity. It's not really increasing the buffs of your swarmers, but it could be useful if you have 7 marchers and they're all prone to getting attacked a lot. Maybe you want to pop this in there as well, just to increase your hospital capacity as an alternative. All right, now we're going to get into the big stuff. This is going to help most accounts in the game. People who are using 5+ marches on the field. This is the list you are going to want to go for, okay? Your priority at the top here. So you're going to want to start off with decimation. This is, in my opinion, I think this is a nice skill to use. Whenever one of your troops battles an enemy field troop on the map, that particular troop is going to take more severely wounds depending on how good your battle report is. So I think this could be a good skill, even if you have, we're talking about 5+ marches here. So I think this could be a good skill because it mentioned only one of those troops needs to achieve that good kill point ratio. All right, now we have the rousing drums. This is the one that is reducing the damage that you take for the next 5 seconds. Okay, so that's a good skill to use as an open fielder. Now we have blood tempered. This is the one that, this is the one we mentioned earlier. I would say absolutely must have skill for an open fielder, particularly with 5+ marches. Your hospital is going to fill fast, and you can get up to 30% damage with this particular skill here, which is enhancing the blood tempered stratagem. All right, now this is the one that is increasing reducing the rousing drums effect to 8 seconds, so that's good. And then this is the one that is increasing the severely wounds that your enemy will take if you are using the decimation stratagem. And I have added in some additional options for you guys. The good thing about being a field troop is most of these skills are going to help you in some way or another. And as I said, not all of these skills will be available to you at the start of the KvK. So selecting some of these options here at the bottom is going to be helpful in the early stages of the KvK. Okay, so let's go to the next strategy here that I have listed. I have actually given a slightly different strategy for the field troops who are using less than 4 marches. This is a slightly different strategy to whether if you're using more than 5. This is a different strategy. So we have decimation. That's the same as mentioned earlier. Okay, if you're going to get a good report, that's going to make the enemy take additional severely wounded troops. Blood tempered, again, that's the one when your hospital fills fast, and you can get up to 30%. Okay, this is Berserker Blood. Your troops deal 5% more damage, but they also take 3% more damage. So the reason why I've added this in here for the open field troops who are using less than 4 marches. All right, now one thing, this is based on my experience in the game. When I have used only like maybe 1 or 2 marches, you kind of take more care of those troops than you do if you have 7 marches. You're more precise with the movements of those troops. So I think dealing extra 5%, well, maybe you are going to take more, you are going to take 3% extra damage. However, being more precise with those smaller number of troops on the field, I think is going to outweigh the extra 3% damage that you're going to take. This is going to be a good skill for open field fighters using maybe 1 or 2 marches. Maybe if you have 4 marches, it's kind of pushing it. Like, I'm not sure if you would get the same benefit there, but the smaller the amount of troops that you have on the field, this is going to be a good skill to use. And then we have the Ant Crusher. Okay, whenever one of your field troops unit count is less than 15% of its own, your troop deals 15% more damage to it. So that's fairly straightforward. Nice skill to use as an open fielder account. And then, as mentioned, this is the one. This is not really one heart, one mind. It's not helping you specifically on the field. Okay, this is the one that is going to help the garrison or rally accounts, where the damage can stack up to 10%. And the reason why I added this one in here, you may be wondering, why did you add this as part of field? Okay, there is a reason why. If you only have 4 marches, you should 100% be joining your team's rallies or garrisons with your extra marches that you are not using. They 100% need to be joining. That's why I have included this skill. I did not include that skill for the other open field strategy for 5 or more marches. But for 4 or less, you need to be using this skill. And then, of course, we have the artifact. As mentioned, that's the one that allows you to change the commander skills in the commander troop type. Sorry. And there are some additional options here. Okay, so take a screenshot, guys. If maybe you don't have enough stratagem points to buy all the top ones, you can also look at the ones on the option. Just a quick reminder, breakneck is the one that gives you the extra march speed. So this is a good alternative skill to use. All right. Now, we're getting close to the end of the video now. We have one final strategy to go through. Okay, and this is for filler accounts. Okay, there are a lot of people out there who have accounts specifically to join rallies or garrisons. They basically just train passively all year out. All off season, they will train T4 troops or T5. Maybe you're a big filler account, but these accounts are not going to be fighting on the field. They are purely joining rallies or garrisons. So these are the skills you want to use. Okay, you want to use breakneck. Your troops gain 10% extra march speed. That's good for joining the rally or garrison. This is the one that increases the march speed of your dead troops by 200%. That's going to allow you to join the next rally faster. All right. Now this one is the one that stacks the damage up to 10% when you are part of a rally or garrison. This is a must-have. You must use this skill. Now we have logistics whiz. You can dispatch 2 troops to each rally. Again, if you are a filler account, you definitely want to be using this skill. Now we have triage. This is the one that 8% of your field troops severely wounded units will instead only be slightly wounded. Now, I know it says field troops here, but this is still going to reduce your hospital. Let's say you're part of a rally and that rally gets swarmed. That is going to reduce your hospital bill. So this is good. If you are a filler account, you definitely want to use this skill. All right. Now, for the final suggestion here, this is the one that is going to reduce your hospital bill again. You can save up to 700 million resources per KvK. And there are obviously a few other less important suggestions. So you got the gathering bonus skill. And this is the one that can increase your crystals. So, I mean, maybe that could be useful to some players. And of course, don't forget, this is the one that is going to help you transfer resources faster. Just to clarify, these are all the skills here. Again, we have 32 skills. And this guide I will be sharing with my kingdom. And I hope that you guys will also find this guide helpful. So that is one of my aims, is to kind of get ahead, get prepared for our KvK and have all the information there. So that is going to save you guys time. Now, if you did enjoy this video, please like and subscribe. That would mean a lot to me if you guys could do that. And definitely stay tuned for more videos coming soon. We have more streams planned for this KvK and more videos like this one